After creating It's a Game Changer, my game on Steam, I realized my true passion doesn't lie in game development 100%. My true passion was in creating the game art for it. So what was I going to do? I decided that I was going to make a quick little prop pack for sale for other independent game developers, because I know a lot of indie game devs are programmers and not artists. So I want to be able to help those programmers be able to make really cool, really good looking games. Let's start with a little bit of a backstory. So my game was a huge learning experience. I learned Godot for the first time in its scripting language and how Godot offers different tools for 3D and 2D games. I also learned how to make a roguelike and how to program it so that it actually functions as intended and not just like your classic platformer or puzzle game. I also delve into making a bunch of little games with It's a Game Changer being a microgame roguelike. I dabbled in a lot of different genres of games that could be made. This game was really fun to make, and I learned a lot, but I learned as I was thinking about my next project that I didn't super want to do the programming. I love designing games and I love creating the assets to be used in games. Programming is something that I have a tendency to drag my heels on. So I looked at, instead of doing another game, I decided maybe a prop pack, something that I can quickly make and get it out and be ready to be sold quicker than the game would be a better utilization of my skill set. And before we jump right into the development of this prop pack that I worked on, I want to kind of walk you guys through how my Steam game went. It didn't sell a ton. I tried to do a lot more marketing with this one than I did with my first one. And this game just didn't perform very well. I think I've sold 7 or 8 copies of this game, and I'm hoping to push out a couple of updates here soon, but I don't want that to be my main focus right now. I want to get looking towards my next projects. And that's where the thought of, let's make a prop pack, because I love making assets that tell a story and different things like that. So I looked at creating a quick little prop pack. This prop pack of mine, it didn't take too long. My goal was to kind of get it done in like 4 or 5 weeks at max. So instead of an 8-month turnaround like my game, I wanted something that I can kind of do every couple months, at most every quarter. And so that's what I took on. I had to brainstorm a couple of ideas for like a theme to work on, because I didn't want to just throw out a bunch of assets together and put it on itch and say, here's my prop pack. I wanted to create something with a theme so that more people can look at it and be like, oh, that would go great in my game. So I decided on what I ended up calling it a dungeon trinkets pack. So it's just a couple little items that can be found in dungeons, like a torch or a crate or a barrel. And I went through and started modeling those. So I believe I started with a barrel to just something really easy and jump right into this project. The barrel was really, really simple. There's a couple of cubes. Let me backtrack. The barrel was a really easy prop to start with. It was a cylinder with about 9 or 10 cubes just copied in an array around it using a curve in Nomad Sculpt. And I just did a very quick 3D model of it. Created the cork, other stuff to kind of give it a little more character. And then I've been texturing my models in Procreate, which is not a common thing that you'd see. I like Procreate because it simplifies the process really far down. That being said, it simplifies it a little too much. The process of making texturing these models and painting them is a little too simplified because of the way it works. It's just a very simple PBR. You assign roughness, metallic, and color, and that's it. And so I have a decent little workflow coming up. It's not as complex as, say, Substance Painter, where you can set up procedural materials and paint those on. You have to create a very specific brush for it and then assign the metallic and roughness properties in the brush itself. And so it's very nuanced, but with this specific prop pack, I didn't worry too much on getting the roughness and metallic 100% correct. I just wanted it to be a very stylized model. Right after I finished texturing these models, in Procreate, I moved it from my iPad onto my computer, where I can bake in some ambient occlusion to give it a little more reality feel to it, because I didn't want to paint that in, because if I can just bake it, it'd be a lot easier, right? So I baked it, and because I went super low poly in my modeling in Nomad Sculpt, I didn't have to worry too much about optimizing these assets. I could optimize them more, obviously, but anybody can do that. So I kept them pretty simple in Nomad Sculpt. I kept the resolution in the sculpting software as low as possible, so I didn't have to worry about coming back and doing a high poly, low poly mesh and doing any sort of baking. So after this entire process of creating these 6 or 7 props, how did they do in sales? To be 100% honest, they haven't done well. I don't think I've sold a single pack yet, but I am getting views. I am getting people looking at the assets. So I'm hoping as I follow through with creating more prop packs that I may hit that vein of gold that is what people want. And after not seeing a lot of sales and diving into a next prop pack, I sat there thinking and trying to design these props that I didn't like creating these very generic props. Don't get me wrong, generic props are fantastic, and I love artists who make those because those are very much needed for games. But my brain wasn't able to take these props and make them something that's useful for game developers, because my brain wouldn't process that. So what did I decide to do? I decided that instead of creating any sort of generic prop pack or any sort of generic pack itself, like dungeon crawling or fantasy or sci-fi, I decided that I was going to base it off of folklore and legends that I personally love. So this next pack that I'm currently working on, is currently inspired by Jack and the Beanstalk. I love old folklore and legends. They really get my brain thinking about the possibilities of these stories. And I decided to go with a very recognizable one because of that. And so with Jack and the Beanstalk, I'm hoping to create a prop pack, an environment pack, a character pack, and then combine them all into like a mega pack. And so right now I'm in the concepting phase, and I finished modeling a couple of the props that I might show here, but they'll be shown on my Instagram page for sure. And my brain is actually able to kind of focus on this a little bit more than just the generic dungeon crawling fantasy ones. So I'm going to show you the finished Dungeon Trinkets pack that I've made. I'll show you the Blender file and what's available on that pack. And I think I am going to show some progress on the Jack and the Beanstalk props as well right here, right after I show these other props. This is how this prop pack taught me some valuable lessons about game development and the importance of sticking through with a project. I hope you guys liked this video. Comment if you have anything that you want me to improve on with my videos, or if you want me to talk about anything else that I've worked on, or talk about what I'm going to work on. Subscribe if you guys want to hear more game development, game asset, game art in general videos. I will be creating more videos here in the future, hopefully creating them a little more regularly as well. Thanks again for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.